Okay, we are gonna animate Lobos. So did this with Photoshop, and I created a frame animation. And I started out by removing Lobo's arm, and then I created the arm. I selected just the arm and put it in the three different positions, up, middle, and down, with the puppet warp tool. So kind of three parts: the removing the background, selecting the arm, and then using puppet warp to animate with a frame animation. So let's do it. Get your favorite mascot image from Google Images and open it in Photoshop. So I'm going to drag mine onto Photoshop and do File Save As to save it on the desktop. And call this, make sure you do a Photoshop document. And okay, so I'm going to start with Window, Workspace, Essentials, and Reset Essentials, so my screen looks a little like yours maybe. Window, Workspace, Essentials, Reset Essentials. All right, double click on Properties to collapse, double click on Color to collapse. Command 0, whoop, cancel. Command 0, click on the, get on the selection move tool. Now Command 0, there we go, to zoom in 100%. And I'm gonna double click to get rid of the lock, or option drag it to the trash. Let's see. All right, so unlock that background layer, and then Command J, jump a copy to a new layer, and I'm gonna eyeball off the top layer. And now this bottom layer is where we're gonna use clone stamp to remove the arm, or to clone in the grass. So let's get the clone stamp tool. This tool's tricky for students to use for the first time. Let's see. You want to make sure you're targeting the correct layer with that white thumbnail highlight. And then let's see. I want to make the edge kind of fuzzy at first, so maybe 50% in the hardness of the brush. And then left and right bracket can resize the brush. So right bracket to get it about the size of the arm. And then Option makes the cursor turn into a target. And then click sets that target point. And then when you move over the hand, you can get a preview of how the hand's going to be erased, even though it's not the eraser tool. You're cloning in the grass. And so maybe you have to Option click again to reset your point. Go from the bottom up, and then start going Option from the outside in. You do get some repeating patterns, but for this little example, it doesn't matter. So it gets a little tricky with the armpit and that neck area. So I'm going to hit spacebar, and then with my first finger, and then Command with my middle finger to get the zoom in. And now I can spacebar. Looks like I got a little blue copied in there, so maybe before I change, I want to kind of click over here and get rid of that blue spot, or over here again, get rid of that spot. Okay, then and it kind of just want to make your brush really small and kind of go slower. So I'm going to Option click on this area and kind of get a good... Oops, see, that didn't do as well as I wanted. Option click over here and start. All right, so I got that. And then now I'm going to kind of Option click from over here and start getting in. Option click. And then left bracket to resize the brush and get that little piece. All right, and then the rest you can do pretty quick. So those two little corners are a little tricky. Right bracket to make the brush bigger again. Option click to set a new source point, and then just come through and kind of connect those two areas. And this area. Okay. So Command 0 to zoom out. If you do have a couple spots that look like repeating patterns or hard edges, you can switch to the clone spot healing brush tool. and you know, hit those. So, but I think it looks fine. So, so I'm happy. Okay, next is we want to turn that top layer on and remove the background. Whoop, Command Z. I still had the bottom layer selected, so make sure you got that white bounding box around the top layer, and then hit remove background. All right, so now if I turn off the layer below, you can see we got Lobo. So it would be easier just to kind of animate this with a different background, like a gradient or a color. But let's say we want to kind of keep the original background. So, okay, so next is selecting just the arm. So when I've done this, when using the clone stamp tool, the less you have to select, the better. Otherwise, you get these like jerky motions sometimes on random parts of the image. So what I want to do is I want to load my selection by option clicking on the layer mask to get the marching ants. And then I want a spacebar, command zoom, and then spacebar drag to kind of get the arm on screen. And then use the lasso tool over here. So, so kind of start where you're going into the image, and then go slow again where you're coming out. And then you can go faster all the way around. Oh, I did the wrong command. It's too late now also. Yeah. Okay, so what I wanted to do, Command Z, is I wanted to hold Shift and Option. So if you look at the cursor of the lasso, it has a Option makes it minus, Shift makes it plus, and both of them makes it X, like intersection. So I actually want to do that again while I'm holding Shift and Option down to keep that X intersection. And once you make it around, let go of the mouse, then let go of Shift and Option, then Command 0 to zoom out. So see, now I have just the arm selected. And what I want to do is I want to add black to the layer mask everywhere but the arm. So I want to invert this selection. So Command Shift I to invert it. And then I want to fill it with black with the paint bucket in the contextual taskbar. Black. All right, and now if I deselect, Command D, I can eyeball off the bottom, and I got just the arm, which is the goal, because I just want to animate the arm. All right, so we're doing good. Let's Command J, jump this a couple times. And now we're going to make the top one the up position, the middle one the middle position, and the bottom one the down position. And now we can get the puppet warp tool. So we can start with up, and I'm going to eyeball off the other layers. All right, so we're just animating that arm. And then we're going to Window, Help, Puppet Warp, because I don't know, there's so many tools and commands. Edit, Puppet Warp. We want to make an edit with the Puppet Warp tool. Okay, so do a lot of these pins kind of in this shoulder area. And then you only need like 2 more pins for the elbow and the wrist or hand. All right, so I'm going to kind of over-exaggerate the up position. And then hit check to apply. And I'm going to turn that off. We don't need to do anything to middle. And then turn down on. Go to Edit Puppet Warp. Oops, I'm still targeting the original one. So target, again, the correct down position. And now Edit Puppet Warp. And a bunch of pins on the shoulder area. One in the elbow, one in the wrist. And I'm going to make this one a little less exaggerated, so just a little down. All right, so check to apply. And then let's go Window, Workspace. We could change to Motion. Why not? Window, Workspace, Motion. And then Create Frame Animation. Command 0 to resize to fit. Looks like I started with the down position, so because my eyeball was on for down and off for the others, that's fine. I'm gonna make it like 0.2 seconds. All right, so it goes from down to middle, plus button to add a frame, and then from middle it goes to up, plus button, and then back to middle, and then repeats itself. So I guess we could do file save before we export. Sometimes the old exports crash, so you might want to do a file save. And then file export save for web legacy, Command Shift Option S. And for me, everything's fine. I'm just going to make the quality 50%. You don't really need a huge image for animated GIFs, so about 1,000 by 1,000 is fine, or less. And then save to desktop, Lobo demo, okay. And it should put lobodemo.gif on my, there it is, and then drag it on to the browser or control click. It looks like it didn't go down as much, but that's the idea. Hope you liked it. Hope that helps. Extra credit if you animate the shadow with the arm. Just takes 3 more layers, but have fun, and I hope this helped.